Hi, everyone. Welcome to High Scores, High Stakes, the podcast that wants to play games, but apparently just winds up watching them. I am your host, Mr. Lubba Lubba, and with me, as always, is Tomahawk. With me sometimes is Cardinal _Smith _. What about you, Cardinal? Long time no see, mate. Where have you been?
Thank you. The double underscore, but the one-time champion. How you doing? Good to be back. Tom was just saying before we started recording, the open top bus. It's just pulled to a halt here, so I'm finally back.
It's run out of fuel. Just stop oil stopped you, I'm presuming.
Cost of living crisis, lad. It affects everything.
Champions that live a humble life too. You know, Lova. I mean, he's got to come back to work eventually. That's the problem.
That's it. This high score, high stakes money is just not good enough. It's not good enough.
Yep.
But obviously this week we have no guest because this week we're doing something completely different for us anyway.
A challenge.
Yeah, the challenge was, can we all watch a television screen for about an hour and 10 minutes? And the answer was, apparently so. Apparently we can do that. I think we might have found our niche here, boys. But yes, what we're doing this week instead of a challenge is, you might have been aware that Sony have had their big, massive PlayStation showcase that was shown last night. To mixed reviews on the internet, I think it's fair to say. So what we're going to be doing this episode is we're going to be taking, of all the games shown last night, we've all compiled a list of our top 5 games. What we're going to do is we're going to go through them round robin style. We're going to go through our number 5 and work our way up to our number 1 games that we saw last night on this Sony PlayStation showcase. But apart from watching games being announced, I don't know about you boys, but I've been playing some games too. So Tomahawk, tell me, what have you been playing, mate?
Well, prior to record, I just finished Fallen Order again, but this time I did not go below the manufacturer difficulty. 1 stroke,
Wow.
1 difficulty, bosh.
Wow, that's
Wow.
pretty impressive, in fairness.
You know what though? It was, I must have put in about an hour trying to defeat the second sister at the very end there, only for her to be undone by one of the wee scout bots.
Yes.
She went to launch at me and it exploded in front of her.
Yeah, that is amazing.
I
I love when stuff like that happens.
I feel as if it cheated me because I felt like I didn't technically, do the final
No, I
blow.
mean, you did.
Yeah, but I did. That's okay.
That is incredible. I remember my first gameplay, I just resorted to lobbing the lightsaber at her from all different angles. I'm sorry, I did it.
Yeah.
No remorse. I don't care.
So it was one of those moments. As soon as the sequence happened, I sat there, just put the controller down, did the big fist pump in the air, and then I kind of half forgot Vader.
Oh, I'm presuming Cardinal is trying to avoid spoilers.
Oh,
Have you
my
finished?
days.
Yes, we're finished. Yes, and you've dodged the biggest spoiler that this podcast has ever thrown out. So you did well, mate. Well done.
My bad, Card. I don't apologize. Actually, it's a quality ending.
It's
Absolute
amazing.
Quality ending.
It is
By the way,
amazing.
the ginger guy dies. Is that what you're saying?
I just saw Cardinal take his headphones off her, and I was like, he's trying to avoid spoilers. He must be still playing this. Fair play to him. Here's the question. No, this isn't a spoiler, Cardinal. Okay? It's a very simple question. Is The Stranger still the best boss fight? Because that's my memory of that game.
Yes, in terms of the adaptability, I suppose, of him. He doesn't just launch unavoidable strike after unavoidable strike. I think his fight is a bit more free flowing and has a bit more fun element to it.
I loved that fight.
Ninth Sister was just, I'm going to throw a lightsaber at you, I'm going to charge at you, I'm going to do my shockwave attack.
Yeah.
And then Second Sister at the end is very much just, I'm going to shockwave you, and then I'm going to launch at you, and then I'm going to grab you no matter where you are.
And I'm going to have lots of unavoidable, unblockable, parryable attacks. That's
Her
my memory of
physical-
her.
I found Second Sister's physical strikes more powerful. They took about half damage
Mhm.
for one hit,
Mhm.
and a lightsaber strike would take about a tenth of damage, which
Yeah.
I found absolutely bizarre there.
Yeah,
But
that
it's done. It's deleted. I can crack on
beautiful,
with
beautiful.
Outer Worlds again.
I have downloaded the Jedi Fallen Order. I've downloaded that for the PlayStation 5, the PlayStation 5 version. So I have. So
Oh,
I've
nice,
yet
yes.
to start it, and I'll probably not get near it. But Cardinal, I have missed our chats about obscure map-based strategy games. So tell me, which one are you playing this week, mate?
Jedi Fallen Order. Have you ever heard of it?
No, mate. What's that? Is that like one of those Star Trek games?
Is it top-down strategy? I've never heard of it. Regale us.
Actually,
I got back into Jedi Fallen Order, and what I did was I found out there was a difficulty setting that you
Mhm.
could change,
yeah.
and I suddenly started enjoying the game because I wasn't getting hammered by just random stormtroopers, and I could actually get to
Quality.
a story point.
Get somewhere.
'Cause
I don't-
I don't have a lot of time to mess around with a lot of battles and things and learn
Yep.
physics, and the extent of my sort of action game strategy has been Final Fantasy VII Remake, where you just bash the thing, hit the
Aye.
thing, blah blah blah,
Active battle
Whereas-
system.
and not like parrying and like
Oh,
tactically
having to
dodging.
think, yeah, time and everything is a chore. Like, yeah.
Yes.
It's,
I know, love it. I
Yes.
know Captain Bloodborne over here, right? Mister.
I thought Jedi Fallen Order was tougher than Bloodborne. To be honest,
Really? Okay.
yeah, I did. I thought
Yeah,
Bloodborne,
See
like
that.
systematically speaking, Bloodborne demands a lot less of the player than what Jedi Fallen Order did at the difficulty I was playing it on. So I started that game one difficulty level above the developer intended, and I dropped it down to the developer intended to complete it because that level above was
Impossible.
precision. It needed almost perfection all the time, and I think if that was a From Software game, the difficulty I started on would probably be like the default, because obviously From Software don't do difficulty settings at all. And I thought Bloodborne out of the box was an easier game than Fallen Order. It took me a lot longer to complete Bloodborne, or because it's bigger and there's a lot more
Yeah.
to see and a lot more to do in it. I think I played Bloodborne probably about 200 or 300 hours, but that's like 7, 8, or 9 run throughs. It like, and it's brilliant.
You loved it. I remember you playing it so much. I kind of at this stage just want to get through the
it.
game to hear the story, so people like Tomahawk don't spoil it
Yeah,
randomly.
the story's
Even when I'm halfway
great.
through.
The story's excellent.
How far are you, Cardinal?
Yeah.
Where are you now?
I've jumped around a few planets, which is much further than I've ever got. I don't think I've hit a big boss, really, of any.
So, what was the last boss you fought?
I don't think I've hit any boss other than some big monsters and stuff.
Okay,
I don't know.
so you're
What sounds like he
I
is
think
just
I think
done
I'm
the
about
tutorial.
to play a boss. No, I think I've hopped around. I'm like my 3rd or 4th planet, and I think it's building up to. Oh, there's something in my stomach. I feel it in the pit.
Oh yes.
Okay.
And it feels
Oh,
like
it's
I'm
gonna
building
get
towards
yes,
something.
yes.
Awesome.
Cool.
No
Right.
comment.
Lover, before we
Yes.
get to what you've been playing, I need to pause 2 seconds, so pause for edit.
Oh,
Anyway, so Lover, you're about to regale us in what you were playing this week.
I have been playing a game I don't think anyone would be expecting me to play. So I have.
Capcom.
I have took a page out of Cardinal Smith's book. So
You're
I
playing
have,
Fallen Order.
and I have been playing a top-down, obscure strategy game, lesser known strategy game. No one's really heard of it. Comes from a small developer / publisher from Japan called.
never heard of them.
They're called Capsule Computers. Some people know call them Capcom. And the strategy game is Street Fighter 6, the open beta. And
He played us like
anymore.
a fiddle.
Poor Tomahawk was like, Capsule computers. He's
I was googling it. I was googling capsule.
That's actually what Capcom stands for, gentlemen. You're welcome. You learned something today in this educational edition of High Scores, High Stakes. No, I've been playing, the Street Fighter 6 open beta started on last Friday and finished on Monday. And I played nothing but Street Fighter 6 for the entire weekend. And it is magnificent. It is superb. It is brilliant. It's amazing. However, one thing I will say.
Did you?
Go ahead, Cardinal.
I was just going to say, did you like it?
I loved it. So much so, I'm going to. I'm day one. I'm day one on it. It's brilliant. It's really accessible, really, really good fun. So it has like a whole heap of changes. So they've changed the control scheme and stuff. So you have your classic 6-button control scheme, which is your normal Street Fighter, and then you have this thing called Modern. So Modern reduces the number of buttons to 4, and basically you hold R2, and you can just hit a sequence of buttons. So you can hit. So it gets rid of the Capcom 6-button controls is light punch, medium punch, heavy punch, then light, medium, and hard kick. It drops to heavy, and just light and medium, and you hold R2, and you can just tap medium punch and do 3-4 hit combos. It is crazy. It's crazy. Although I don't like that control scheme because it's contextual as well. So the button will change what it does depending on the context of what your opponent is currently in. So
that's fascinating, love it.
Yeah. But one thing I
can't tell if Cardinal's just condescending.
He is. But one thing I didn't agree with was on Twitter and Instagram, there was a whole heap of fighting game gatekeeping going on amongst the Street Fighter community. Just a load of like, I don't know where this has come from, but basically there's a load of people who are on Twitter complaining that Street Fighter was just too difficult. Street Fighter 6 was a lot more difficult to get into than Street Fighter 5, which I disagree with. Couldn't disagree with it anymore, to be honest. And then there was just a load of replies like, well, welcome to fighting games. You know, you had Street Fighter 4 and Street Fighter 5 to hold your hand for the last 10 years. Now the training wheels are off. Good luck, kids. And that's like, what is this? What is this? I've never unfollowed so many people on Twitter as what I have the last weekend. Honestly, it's shocking. The fighting game community isn't the biggest community on the planet, and shite like that's not going to make it grow.
We just thought they'd all be fighting each other.
I said a bad word. Let's read that again. Stuff like that won't make it grow. Edit that one in. Just beep it.
That is great. That's great because that's been due to be out a while now. Sounds like I think Sherry was on board with that as well.
I think so. Yeah, he loved it. So he did. He spent a lot of time trying out the new characters. I literally played as Ken the whole time. He's too good. He's brilliant. They've changed a load of stuff about him. So there's a whole load more frames for a lot of his moves. So he's no longer do you get as many free combinations as Ken as what you did in Street Fighter 5, which is good for everyone else, not for me. As a Ken man, I need to change my tactics. But yeah,
holding your hand now. Welcome to Real World, kid.
It's out this Friday the 2nd of June, boys. So it is. Can't wait. What a day. Guess what I'm going to be playing next week?
Season 2, episodes 1 through 10, just be Street Fighter 6 tournaments.
It's Tom. It's just going to be me and you next week.
So there'll be no one available now. It's like, I love it. Just in a Street Fighter void right now.
But with the fear of talking about Street Fighter 6, this is going to become the Street Fighter 6 podcast. Yes. Shall we get to the Sony PlayStation Showcase?
Let's do it.
Then let's go straight there, boys. So, as we were saying there, guys, rather than doing a challenge this week, we're going to be chatting about the PlayStation Showcase. And rather than talk about the whole thing, because there's a lot of games that were unveiled yesterday, what we've done is we have all compiled the list of our top 5 games that we saw. Yes, we all have our handy-dandy notebooks. And yes, we're ready. Are we ready to refer to said notebooks?
There's a lot of scoring out in mine, so we'll see what we can do.
There's a lot of scoring out in mine, and there's arrows pointing here, there, and everywhere. So basically, for the benefit of the listener, what we're going to do is we have compiled our top 5 games, and what we're going to do, round robin style, is we're going to start at the bottom of our lists. So number 5 on our list, and then we're going to work our way up until we hit our number 1 game that we saw at this PlayStation Showcase. And hopefully, there's not too much crossover here, because there was a ton of games last night. 25, I think, were announced. So without any further ado, our number 5 games. My number 5 game, and it may come as a shock to someone because it's very low down on my list, and I love this game series. Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2 is my number 5 game.
Okay.
And for the simple reason is that gameplay yesterday was amazing. Like, I literally, when it started, the bit when you see comes out the jungle and goes to New York, I literally started calling for Mrs. Lava to come down and watch it with me. It's like, oh my god, look at this! It looks incredible. So the only reason I put this is it looks incredible. The technology behind that looks incredible. Like, that gameplay trailer had everything. So you have instantaneous changing between Peter and Miles. You had seamless, loadless, free roaming into buildings, set piece, and then back into the open world with not a hiccup. It looks incredible.
It looked absolutely stunning. Absolutely. Even the symbiote-based fighting, just that really got me excited, to be honest, about that as well.
Yep. Even the little touches as well. I don't know if you noticed, but I watched their trailer must have been about 6 times after the showcase ended. But when Peter is fighting as the symbiote, the suit is it changes. So when his arms extend, you can see the suit drain from his feet up. So you can it just looks.
It'll be worth a second watch then to pick up on those finer details that you get caught up in that first 4 minutes, 5 minutes that they played.
Might have been longer. I think it's about 7 or 8 minutes. Yeah, it was a longer game. Like, it looks great, and I am presuming that gameplay section is from a couple of hours in, because there's a couple of wee spoilery doodles in there.
It'll be
like Dr. Connors and being in there and Lizard and stuff. It just looks incredible. It looks incredible. It just looks incredible. Like,
outdoors, and it's gonna just go escalate from there, really.
Yeah, the only reason I put that at number 5 is because it's out in September, to be honest, and it's a known quantity. You knew Spider-Man 2 was going to look incredible.
Yeah,
it's Sucker Punch. Or it's not Sucker Punch, Insomniac, sorry. It's an Insomniac game. They know what they're doing with the PlayStation 5. They've done Ratchet and Clank. They know the PlayStation 5 inside and out. You knew it was going to look incredible, and it wasn't really a surprise. We all knew it was going to be there. I was just hoping it was going to get a date, but it didn't. But it's apparently September. Tomahawk, your number 5 game, please.
My number 5 game. I went a bit left field on this one, actually, but I went with the Plucky Squire at my number 5.
Okay.
Something different. I mean, I think I can guarantee that we've all got very similar games on it. This one just kind of hit a wee chord, I think, with me. It was just a great wee 2D game into a 3D game. It'll be fun, it'll be silly, it'll be something that you play in between the big titles.
Yep.
And it looks stunning.
It looks amazing.
Like, even the part in the reveal where you're going up the wee staircase, but it's a 3D staircase and it's 2D platforming.
Yep.
It looked phenomenal. And I think how they played that just was it was stunning. Just absolutely beautiful game. Like, and I mean, if it's a 6-hour story, it's going to be fun, it's going to be childish, but you'll enjoy it all the same anyway.
I have no issues with short games. None. Yeah. In fact,
they're palate cleansers. I mean,
I find myself drawn to them.
Yeah.
I think that one got lost because that was a bit further, that was a bit earlier in the showcase, and then you're getting hit with your games such as Spider-Man 2
and Final Fantasy
and it's
16.
Getting all the talk. I don't want to say any other games in case they pop up on this, but you're just right to mention something like that because that looks fun.
I think that looks great.
Yeah,
and it may not be the last time.
I know it's your obsession with like Sackboy and every other kind of game similar to that. It screams those kind of vibes, those lover vibes, to be honest. And I'm surprised it wasn't. Well, I mean, we're only at number 5 here.
We're at number 5 here.
It could be his number 1 game.
It's not, but it might. We might be talking about that again pretty soon. What about you, Cardinal? What was your number 5 game, mate?
Okay. So my number 5 was sort of less cute. Anyway, I went with Synapse, which is one of the PSVR2 titles. It was a shoot 'em up. It's got what is it? David Hay, the old Metal Gear Solid voice actor.
Yep.
Hater. Sorry. And to be honest, it kind of reminded me of Super Hot. Where you got this gun and you sort of like sliding things or moving things as you're moving around. And I really love the
premise of this one. This is the one where you're in
Synapse?
your fella's subconscious. Yeah.
Synapse is the one. Yeah, it's like a wireframe looking first-person shooter in the PSVR2 section.
Yes, that's right. Kind of struck me as like Live Die Repeat. It had very much that vibe about it.
It was the one that got me excited when it came on. I was like, "Ooh, this looks like super hot."
And that was it. That's kind of what. So I was like, "Oh, this is a bit weird," but then I remembered Super Hot was quite amazing to play in VR. I remember being scared of heights. Looking over the edge and sort of really feeling it and all. And I thought it just like look
Super Hot in VR. I had to give up because the later levels required like 100% precision, and I couldn't get my setup to allow me that level of precision to progress. But
I don't think I got that far yet.
The non-VR Super Hot was amazing. I played that through to finish about 3 times. It was great. Really difficult game. But yeah, Synapse looked amazing because when it came on, I was like, I thought it was like a new Super Hot. It looks great. And the telekinesis things of being able to move things with looked great. Yeah. It looks great. Now,
I will say about that, just going to give the VR an honorable mention on that, because there's a couple of games I've put the VR only for the fact that I've not mentioned the VR is because I don't own one and probably never will, to be honest. I just think the games looks done. I will play someone else's VR if the opportunity arises. But yeah,
you're just waiting on one of us getting it.
Exactly. There was a lot of games I thought that looks a shout. It's a shame I will never own it.
I own the original PlayStation VR, and I got it day one, and I more than got my money's worth from it. Yeah. And the PSVR 2 just looks really, really impressive. It just looks really good. And there's a lot of games all the games I showed yesterday, all 4 or 5, whatever it was, all of them look good. All of them.
I mean, it's just icing on the cake because I really want the VR2 for Gran Turismo 7 to the point where I've stopped playing Gran Turismo 7 because I just don't think I'll get the enjoyment out of it that I would with VR. I just want the VR2. Give it to me. Don't sell it for £530. Sell it for less.
Yes, I'm waiting on that too. I can't justify it. I can't justify 500, 600 quid for the VR with a game. No. Sony, I know you're listening to this. 300, sweet spot.
Come on now, pipe down, lad. Cost 11. I know there's a cost 11 without crisis with the PSVR 2. But really,
we're having a crisis without the PSVR 2 here, Sony. Come on, play nice. Or not at all.
Or just sponsor us, who knows.
Something a bit different for our 5th games.
Yes, so let's see how we get on with our number 4 ranked game. My number 4 ranked game was Phantom Blade Zero. I think a lot of the criticism I've seen for this showcase on the internet has been there was too much CGI videos and not enough gameplay. I think Phantom Blade is how you announce a game. A nice big video at the start, a wee nice voiceover, and then bang, straight into gameplay. And it looks awesome.
It looked absolutely stellar.
This is the one with the swords and the like really high paced fighting looking.
Yes, so
Punk Samurai.
The first after it goes, you have 66 days left to live. What will you do? I thought until the fighting started, I thought it was like a Sekiro sequel. I don't know if anyone else thought it looked like a Sekiro sort of.
I kind of nearly had like a Souls game kind of
thing. And then the fighting started, and I was like, "Whoa, okay, this is not Sekiro." What is this? So it's being developed by some Chinese game development team. So China have like only recently allowed like consumer electronic gaming devices to be sold in the country. So they have all of a sudden you have all these like Chinese game developers. It looks amazing. I think Phantom Blade looks amazing. So it just looks really good. My only worry for it, like before we start recording this, up until about an hour ago, this was my number one game. My only concern for it, I rewatched the trailer for it, is a lot of the fighting could potentially be automated. Like it could be a case of hold R2 and then sort of just like
point of direction.
Are you
Yeah.
thinking QTE type?
And I'm thinking, are they hiding something? Because like a load of the combat, there's a bit in the trailer where he's getting attacked by two people, one on his left, one on his right, and he like goes horizontal, kicks one in the chest, while stabs the other one in the chest. And I'm thinking, how does that control scheme work? And I'm wondering if it's either QTE or if it's like a case of hold R2 and push these,
Unless
inputs.
they're going in a same way as kind of like the Arkham fight system. It's
Possibly, yeah.
square circle, triangle, circle, and they put a jazzy combo in. It might just be a case of really, really seamless mechanics, but
Possibly.
I suppose there's two. I think that's kind of why we come to mind anyway. There's a lot of unknown. That's the problem.
So this game didn't get a release date, didn't even get a release window. It's probably going to be 2024. We're probably going to be talking about Phantom Pain Zero this time next year.
Yeah.
But I think it looks great, and it is definitely one I'll be keeping my eye on because I think it looks amazing. I think graphically it looked really good. It didn't look Spider-Man levels of good, but you wouldn't expect that from a mid-tier sort of. It looks like a AA game rather than AAA, doesn't it? But it could.
It's more advertised. It's quite semi-closed.
Yeah.
In terms of the map or the storyline.
Yeah, I think the world needs another Ninja Gaiden game, and I think this could be a Ninja Gaiden game. So,
Will it deliver? Tune in 2024 to find out.
So Tomahawk looks dejected there. He doesn't like Ninja Gaiden. So Tom, what's your number 4 game, mate?
Well, we'll not labour on that point much longer. My number 4 game also was Phantom Blade Zero.
Okay, yeah.
No.
Yes, we'll not labour on that for too much longer. But again, it was much higher up until I kind of did a bit more digging. The initial hype wore away, and it was a case of you got nothing. Essentially, there was no even whatever gameplay they did show. There was no trigger. There was no kind of guidance of what does what or anything, which kind of has now got me worried that is it QTE or is it just going to be fancy combos?
Yeah. I mean, yes, it's a vertical slice trailer, wasn't it? It doesn't show any sort of mechanics or anything. It's just a vertical slice. This is what you can expect from this game. So I've dug around. Apparently, they've confirmed it's an action RPG. There's level system, there's gear and system, there's armor system and stuff. But I just wonder. It looks pretty far on, but all the gameplay sections in the trailer are from the same area, as far as I can tell.
From the same, it's near enough the same sequence. Yeah.
So I wonder if they have like one section done, basically.
If they teased more and maybe divulged a bit more info on it, even a release date or a release quarter, it might have gone higher up.
Mm-hmm.
Fourth the breaks anyway.
I think fourth's fair. If only real knows real, Tomahawk, real knows real. And what about Cardinal _ Smith? Is his number 4 game also Phantom Blade Zero? Let's find out.
No, it didn't feature in my top 5.
Stellaris.
I thought there's there's about 60 more DLCs to come out in Stellaris before we get Stellaris 2. Anyway, Interactive Studios, Paradox Interactive joke there for the niche fans. My number 4 is Concord.
Okay, yes.
We didn't see anything about the game whatsoever. The trailer was the inside of a spaceship and a burger, and it said coming 2024 Concord.
Get ready, freerunners.
And the burger looked amazing. Like the animation.
Yes.
And I've read, it just says now, a new PvP multiplayer first-person shooter from Fireworks Studios. And that's it.
Fire Sprite?
Firewalk on the PlayStation YouTube, apparently. But PlayStation, you've got it wrong. Lova says it's Fire Sprite.
I thought it was Fire Sprite.
And honestly, I don't know what it is. but that kind of mystery just intrigues me, and that gets me excited. And I don't know that I don't want a first person shooter on a PlayStation actually, because that's Sherry's forte.
But it is it's one of those genres the PlayStation desperately needs. I mean, Sony hasn't had a first person shooter since Killzone Shadowfall, I want to say.
Quite possibly.
Resistance.
Or is it? But Shadowfall was PlayStation 4. There was no Resistance game on the PlayStation 4, was there?
Yeah.
Shadowfall wasn't it? It was a launch. So I think PlayStation needs a first person shooter. Especially now it's looking like Call of Duty's gonna be gobbled up by Microsoft. I think they need something, and I think the other game, the Jade Redmond game that opened the show, Cash Games, was that what it's called?
Written down as Payday 3, but it's not Payday 3.
That's also a first person shooter. Fair Games. Now that is also a first person shooter.
That
competitive PvP.
Yeah.
So I think Sony have highlighted this is an area we need, and they've put some
to jump into. Yeah.
They've put some top talent. Get us one of these, please. Thank you very much. That'll be lovely. And that is also means that those two are two of Sony's 10 games as a service games they announced about 3 years ago. Herman Hulst, remember that? We have 10 games as a service in active development right now. That's two of them. 100%. That's two of them. Concord seems very, very, it could be very, very interesting. We need more than a 10-second video, don't we, though? But good shout. It's a good shout. It is a good shout. I had it on my honourable mention list, so I do. Concord. Just because it seemed interesting. It just seems interesting and something different.
Yeah, it just put a mystery about it.
Yeah, I like it. But shall we move on to number 3? Shall we move on to number 3? My number 3 game was The Plucky Squire. It just screams. It just screams. You're gonna love this stuff. It just
Tom called it.
Yeah, it just. I saw that and I was like, oh my goodness gracious me, this is a game for me all day long. It's top down, cutesy, indie, screams indie game. Just screams indie game, all written all over it. And I just like the whole look of it. It reminded me of like Fez. It reminded me of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds and things like that. It looked a wee bit like The Puppeteer in some sections as well. It just screams this is going to be a high quality PlayStation indie game that I'll be all over, and I'm all over it. I cannot
really polished.
Big beam and smile of you love it as well.
It just looks so different, and yeah, I'm getting to that point now where I want
absolutely fresh looking as well. Like it's a nice take on a wee platformer, like a wee indie platformer as well. So
yeah, it just looks like a big mashup of genres and gameplay styles. I'm all for it. So I am. But we've talked about this before. So Tomahawk, what was number 3, mate?
So my number 3 was Spider-Man 2.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're going to circle back to kind of what you had said there, love it. We know it's going to be fantastic. We sort of knew it's going to be mid to late 2023 anyway. I'm going to say something controversial. I didn't think Spider-Man 1 was particularly amazing. I liked it. I thought it was a very good game. One of the best games I've ever played? Probably not.
What? Actually?
Like, I finished it and just went, I probably will play this again.
I mean,
if I do, it won't have the same joy or happiness from it.
Like, I agree with you. It's not one of the best games I've ever played, but that's
another discussion.
I am of the opinion that Spider-Man it's probably the best open world game I've ever played.
Oh, 100%. Everything to do. Yeah, it's fantastic. It doesn't bog you down in the way that the Arkham games bog you down. I will give you that.
That's really important. Also, I thought the story, without going into spoilers at all, I'm not going to spoil anything, but the story hits hard at different points in that game.
There's a moment though where I think the story gets a bit. I think in the early build of the story, it's very much just like, can we move this along? I felt that
I never felt that about the story. Never felt that. It opens big, and then it sort of keeps chugging. I thought now there is, if you're doing certain things. What I liked about it was Insomniac are really good at this. Is they don't they didn't jam pack New York with things to do. Now there was lots to do in that game, but everything feeds into a story. Now the story may not be the main story of the game, but everything has a story. Everything you do in Spider-Man progresses a storyline. And so when you're doing something, it never feels, oh, I'm just doing this because it's an icon on the map. I'm looking at you, Ubisoft.
There's a nice narrative for everything. No, I thought that because I remember playing that back quite recently when it was on PlayStation Plus, at least anyway. And you have all the Harry Osborn side missions where he's doing all the wee labs.
The labs, the weather, yep.
Yeah, they were quite cool. I think it was fine. It doesn't have any replayability, personally, for me, at least anyway.
Yeah, okay.
And I have written a note here. The Spider-Man logo annoys me. There.
I remember having, you put this in group chat earlier on today. I remember having the same feelings when they announced the Spider-Man suit for the first game.
I hate it.
I agree to love it, but what I like about this is you know that this game is going to have like hundreds of spider suits that you can just change willy nilly, and it'll give you different perks and stuff. And yeah. The thing that annoyed me about the trailer, and this might be unpopular, but clearly they're going to do the symbiote story, like clearly. So they're going to. I don't know if Venom will be an antagonist in this game. I have the feeling they're going to save him for a DLC. So I do, but I hate Venom. I hate him. He's so 1990s, and that is now 30 years ago.
But like,
he's not cool.
Venom, even in the movies, they're trying to force Venom to be like him, make him popular. I
don't get him. He's not cool. He's not funny. He's just this try-hard 1990s ideal of what evil is, and he's a dreadful character, and I really wish that the Spider-Man fandom would let Venom go. He was never good. Never. That's all I want to say. I'm not looking forward to the Venom storyline. Topher Grace is the best Venom ever.
I think there's a lot of bad guys in Spider-Man in generally that are quite weird. You got a business executive who dons a green suit and surfs around the sky.
See, I think Spider-Man has the best rose gallery in comic books. I just don't think Venom.
Does he own a rose farm? What?
I just don't think Venom's in the top 20.
It's a Keen Gardner.
Rogues gallery.
Oh, rogues! Right.
Yeah. I just don't think I wouldn't have Venom anywhere near. Honestly, I wouldn't have him near my top 10. I wouldn't.
I think
I like the idea.
They'll do the symbiote as a story arc, and then he'll be like, "I don't need it. I'm better without it." Yeah, and then he'll cast it away.
Now, what I would like to see as a gameplay mechanic is Peter shedding the symbiote and Venom being born with Eddie Brock. And then when it comes to fighting Venom, I would love if the spider sense indicator doesn't show. Because why would it? Because
they're one and the same, essentially, yeah.
I think that would be very, very cool from a gameplay perspective. Like, I have no doubt in my mind Insomniac will do something more than, the black suit is going to make Peter Parker a bad person storyline. That's what Venom is, since Sam Raimi got his hands on him. And I would like to see them do something more with the character, and maybe Insomniac are going to be the ones that change my mind about Venom, but as of this moment, I don't like Venom at all.
Before we jump on to what Cardinals got for number 3, I did make another note here. I don't know how you guys want to agree or interpret this. The seamless transition between two characters, all for it. I would have liked to see maybe a drop-in, drop-out co-op. Like online, maybe if you do it, hear me out. If you do this online-based, kind of, and then you can start a mission, but you both have to be at the mission point. You can't just start one on your own, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I get that, but then you're going to fall into Gears of War territory, aren't you? Where Gears of War had forced co-op, and when you're not playing with a human being, the AI is atrocious, and you spend most of your time. I like the idea of two Peter Parkers, or two Spider-Man. But what I do like is there's no forced co-op. There's no co-op, in fact, and I think it opens up the idea of, like in the trailer yesterday, it showed like, you know, I'm gonna do this, you go do that.
Yeah.
And I don't know how that would work as a gameplay mechanic if it was co-op. You'd have to have 2 instances of the open world, and then you're going to have a PlayStation 5 rendering 2 separate New Yorks.
Eventualities, essentially, yeah.
It would be impossible.
Okay. No, I get that,
Maybe in
yeah.
PlayStation 6. But I think it's brave of Insomniac to go, no, this is not co-op, and no, there will never be co-op. Please do not ask us for it. And I just wonder if that's why. It opens up the idea of you can go and do this and stay in contact with us. It creates the illusion that this is a living, breathing New York, rather than this New York exists for you as Spider-Man to swing around and beat up bad guys, and sort of opens up the idea more that there's things going on that you can't go to as Spider-Man, but the other Spider-Man's going to go and do that for you. Do you know what I mean? It just makes the world feel more alive, and I like that. I like the idea. I just don't know how co-op will work. I don't think it would work. And then you're in the territory of then this is now an always online game, and that's something Sony have always been dead against, of forcing always online.
Forcing the issue at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Except Gran Turismo 7.
Yes.
Cardinal, number 3, please.
Okay, well, sticking with Spider-Man 2, I went with Square Enix's Final Fantasy 16.
Yes.
That's right. There we are.
There we go. Here we go. This is it.
Strap in, boys.
Content incoming.
It's been in my veins.
I have played Final Fantasy 6, Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 8, Final Fantasy 9, Final Fantasy 10, Final Fantasy 12, 13, 14, and 15. Not 11. That was entirely online. 14 was entirely online. Smashed it. Now, I kind of have a love-hate relationship with Final Fantasy. Okay? And a lot of it's hate. This one is full of English accent heroes, yes! And flying ships and crystals, and it looks like one of the, how I say, original Final Fantasies that were back on Nintendo's. It's the same kind of story. It's the same kind of design, artwork. Obviously, it's on a PlayStation 5. It looks fantastic. I don't know. And at this time, it just depends what's the combat like, because we see lots of cutscenes. And obviously they're going cutscene heavy. Look, story. Yes, we will fight a crystal, fight a dragon, fight a bad guy.
There's a lot of cinematic, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's great. I'm all for the cinematic if the story's good. And I'm sure it kind of seems like there's a humor element to it because the characters are practically over the top, like ridiculous. Yeah. But which I welcome. But I don't see anything about the fighting. Yeah, and that's why it's number 3. Because I really like Final Fantasies. But I really hate a few of the Final Fantasies because the fighting mechanics were terrible.
What Final Fantasies do you not like because of the combat? Curiosity. Is 15 one of them?
Yes.
Okay. So the bad news is it's the active battle system from Final Fantasy 15. They've been sort of going from Kingdom Hearts. It's that sort of battle system. So it is. Did you see the comments from the director the other day about... So I played Final Fantasy 7, I played Final Fantasy 8, and I played Final Fantasy 9, and then I played Final Fantasy 11, Lightning, that
was 12.
12. And then I stopped playing it because that was terrible. And I've never been interested in Final Fantasy since. And then there was... I saw this interview with the director the other day, and they were like,
No, that was 13. That was 13. Sorry, Lightning was 13.
Lightning.
It was 12. 12 had the weirdest fighting style, or where there was like little lines pointing
like
towards
Parasite Eve, almost. It was like Parasite Eve type.
Weird.
And the director, like they said, is this a traditional Final Fantasy? And he was like, what's a traditional Final Fantasy? And they explained what they thought. And they're like, what to you is Final Fantasy? And he's like, to me, Final Fantasy is the story, the graphics, the combat, the music. It's everything. Final Fantasy is everything. And that was like, that's a great answer. That's a great answer. And that trailer just looks amazing.
Yeah.
It just looks amazing. And they've been showcasing that game very proudly for the best part now of 4 months. And they're like, yeah, this is all in game. This is on PlayStation. This is in game. And it just, I'm really interested in it, if only because they have the guy who does the voice for the Dasha adverts.
Oh yes,
The guy from Game of Thrones.
that big old British man. Yeah.
Dasha, it's not for everybody. Yeah, but it looks amazing. Final Fantasy is one of my honorables because it doesn't quite make my list, so it doesn't. But just because on the virtue of it being Final Fantasy, and
It's smack in the middle for me because I don't know which way it's going to go. And from Love's description, it's going to go down.
I think I put this on group chat last night after that Final Fantasy trailer. I was like, that could be game of the year. I think it could be a game for the ages. Honestly, I do. I think it could be one of the finest games ever made because for me, it's got all the hallmarks of it. They've not been afraid to show anything of it. In fact, they took great pleasure in the initial. In February, I don't know if you saw this. In February, they released a video, and the discourse online was it was pre-rendered. It was pre-rendered. That's not real. That's not real. That's pre-rendered. And then they came back maybe a week later, went to the same area, and then was like, "Oh yeah, oh hold on a minute, let me just go," and he just took the controller and just rotated the camera in a random fashion, and he goes, "This is real. This is real," and it looks incredible.
Yeah.
It looks. I think it could be game of the year. I think it could be the best Final Fantasy ever made, and that's just from they're just not afraid. And I think the reviews of that are going to be ridiculous, like mid-90s on Metacritic type job. That's what I think. But it didn't quite make my top 5. It didn't make my top 5 just because it's Final Fantasy.
Just because it's Final Fantasy. I could talk about Final Fantasy. I could go on a whole podcast spiel about Final Fantasies, but let's not. Let's get into the splicey, dicey sections of the top 2.
The top 2. So my number 2 game, probably to the surprise of nobody, is Alan Wake 2. Alan Wake 2. They are singing the songs I love to hear from developers. This is a horror game first and foremost. Yes, please. This is going to take everything that you know from the original, and we're going to ditch what didn't work and emphasize what did work. Yes, please. Give me more of that.
That's it. No, I remember you love it when Alan Wake first came out. To say fanboyed over Alan Wake 1 would be an understatement.
Yes.
I agree. It's just a bloody good game.
It's a really good game. It has its flaws. Don't get me wrong. It has its flaws. Like there's no variety in the enemies and stuff in the Alan Wake 1. By the time you get to the end of it, the horror elements have been completely thrown out the window, and it's an action game, which I have no problem with. It's very Japanese in approach. You know, make the first half of the game really difficult. Make the second half of the game give you weapons, and it's that power trip. Yeah. You know, all these things that scared you at the start, you're destroying, and I like that. You know, Resident Evil have been doing that since the beginning. I have no issue with that. Alan Wake 2 looks incredible. It has everything that I personally look for in a horror game. The graphics are beautiful. The Remedy came out and went, yeah, that 100%, that whole thing was running on PlayStation 5. There's no compromises here.
It did look great.
It looks amazing.
I'm not ever playing it. It's a horror game, but it looked like it looked great.
It looks. Worry. If this podcast has anything to say about it, you will play it.
You'll play it. Wait till he sees the playlist for season 2. But it looks amazing. I think it could be as big a jump in quality for Alan Wake as The Evil Within 2 was for The Evil Within. Where The Evil Within was, I love that game, but it was flawed like Alan Wake, and I think this could just be brilliant. I have a notion that Remedy are going for like a cinematic universe deal here, so Control, Alan Wake, all this stuff is going to be pulled in together. Max Payne is going to be pulled into it as well, because obviously one of the cops in the video was Max Payne. I think they're going for a cinematic universe. There are rumors that Remedy are in the process of being bought by Take-Two, specifically to remake Alan Wake 1 or Max Payne 1, 2 and 3, and I think they're going to go for a full cinematic universe and pull them all in together. Because why not? It looks incredible. I thought Alan Wake had everything I would look for in a horror game. Amazing graphics, gameplay looked great. I like the idea of having three branching stories, two characters, but three stories basically. You have the writer, you have, I'm presuming, the writer, which is Alan Wake, obviously, and Alan Wake in the game world are two distinct Alan Wakes. It's not the same person. And then you have this
Alan Wake 1 finished.
And then you have
kind of implied it's a split.
Yep. Yep. And I don't know if you ever played the Alan Wake DLCs, did you? No, the Alan Wake DLCs go deep into that, and then the Control DLC for Alan Wake as well goes big into it too. It's a cinematic universe, I've no doubt in my mind, and I can't wait for Alan Wake 2.
I didn't know any of this was related or existed.
I think it's going to be great.
That sounds class.
I do remember Lava on the group chat going, "Did you see that?" And I was like, going, "We're about 4 games ahead now. What are you talking about?" And he went, I'll just set me it." And went, don't even worry about looking back. I'll just tell you.
Max Payne is the cop. No one seems to have noticed it. That's the thing. No one seems. I think I had to rewatch it there. In case I thought I thought it was going crazy. I was like, surely someone else. No, I can't see. No one mentioned.
Take crazy
clever. It's either clever exposition or it's lazy character building.
Well, yeah, it's the same. It's the guy. Max Payne is the director of Max Payne, wasn't he? He had to do his own modeling on him to save money and time. So the guy who created Max Payne is the Max Payne constipation face in the first 2 games. So he is the director. He was definitely the director of Alan Wake. I don't know if he still works for Remedy. I'm presuming he does. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it's genius. I can't wait for it. And it's out October. It's out October.
I did forget about that. That's actually, like, grand scheme of things,
it's around the corner.
Months,
it's around the corner. Yeah. It's going to be Halloween, boys.
Between
that and the new Saw movie, Halloween's going to be lit.
Oh yes,
can't wait. But what was your number 2, Tomahawk, mate?
So jumping on the Alan Wake 2 bandwagon. My number 2 was also Alan Wake 2.
Yes.
We're ticking the same boxes here, Love. I'm absolutely living for this. I mean, as soon as I saw it, as soon as you see that shot at the pier, they're sort of at the town's edge, I was just like, yeah, take me back. This is absolutely, yes, as you said, the game's not without its flaws. It looks like they're going to well and truly address this, and I just loved how it went, the detective at the end going, what's your name? And it just cuts to shaggy Alan Wake in the woods, and I'm like, beautiful, just hook into my veins.
When they first show his face, I thought, looks like Keanu Reeves.
I fully was behind it. Even that moment where you have the camera over the detective's shoulder.
Yep.
You hear the creak in the door, and next thing you know, you've got your big hulking dude bust through the wall.
Yep.
It was
it
was such a jumpy moment without it being massively jumpy.
Yep.
I think it's just I think all these wee horror issues where it's not just shadowy figures, I think they're onto something special here for this one. And
I think
bided their time on it big time. Really have.
I mean, Alan Wake came out, 2007?
It was 360.
2008,
release,
maybe?
Wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. It's like 2007, 2008, I think. Alan Wake, so it's been 15 years in the making.
Yeah, so there's not much more to be said on that. I think you've pretty much hit all the points home on that, but if it finishes and plays as well as it looks, I think we're on to something truly special.
Yep. What about you, Cardinal, mate? Is Alan Wake 2 your number 2 as well? Yep.
No. Actually, I'm going to break from trends. Surprisingly, I'll not put a horror game anywhere near my top 5. So my number 2 is a sequel. It is number 2. It is from Arrowhead Game Studios.
I know what this is.
Of course he does. Love knows all the studios. This is Helldivers 2.
Yes.
And this is a curveball, because I think there's not like a whole heap of excitement about this. I played Helldivers a lot, and I only played it with a pal or pals.
Was
it is an excellent game to play.
Gamer, by the way.
He could have been. He could have been up there with the elite. Shout out to Nathan. It was just a tremendous game, and this looks totally different and remade. It's a different camera point of view. It's over the shoulder, whereas Helldivers was top down.
Yep.
you sort of the camera pans out to view your 4 characters who are running around the map. So there'll be a lot of surprises coming at you from behind, I presume, in this. The tongue-in-cheek of the sort of video choreography bit at the start was funny.
Was excellent.
Yeah. But I really look forward to it. It's something different. It's fun. I know there's in Helldivers there was like a persistent war that happened across the galaxy. So you jumped in and played a level, and you were contributing to a war effort.
The war effort, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, between 3 different factions of aliens or something that you were trying to stamp out and protect and bring democracy to the galaxy.
Troopers a bit now.
It is, but it never played into that as much as this trailer did. Because as soon as it appeared, I was like,
I thought it was Starship Troopers.
This is Neil Patrick Harris's character in Starship Troopers. So what is this? And then when it was like, join the war, I was like, no, join the Helldivers. And I was like, okay. Yeah, I played Helldivers with Sherry, but not very much. But what I played, I really enjoyed of it. It seemed a really good game. And it'll be one I'll be definitely diving into before the sequel comes out.
And it was one that sort of drew you to keep playing because you would unlock like little upgrades in your guns and you'd be more powerful and take on different enemies and stuff. But it's one of my honorable mentions. So it is. But before we go into our number 1 games, I'm just going to list off what my honorable mentions were. I'm presuming these 2 have honorable mentions as well. Games that didn't quite make a cut.
Out of everything, we'll let you go first there.
So here's mine. Mine are Resident Evil 4 VR, which looked incredible. Nice. And I made a joke on group chat saying I've just ordered my PlayStation VR. I haven't been tempted, but I am now. Honestly, Resident Evil 7 in VR is one of the best gaming experiences I've ever had. It took me about 15 minutes to walk through a door at one point in that VR experience. It is incredible. And it looks like they haven't phoned this one in either. It just looks amazing. So, Resident Evil 4 VR, Helldivers 2, Final Fantasy 16. And then 2 that haven't been mentioned yet is Ultros, which was that really colourful, like Metroidvania roguelike game that got announced. It looks really quite spectacular.
I forgot about that bit, yeah. That's a good show.
It looks quite good. I think that could be something. I can't remember the name of the game, but it was from the guys who developed Gris. It was like you're a cat running through like a forest, like a 2D cartoony.
Oh, Neva.
Yes, that's it.
Eva?
That's it. That is the one I was like, oh hello, because Gris was very good. So it was. And then my last one, and it might be unpopular, is Foam Stars.
Yep, that would be on my list as well.
I think that looks great. We were chatting beforehand. Splatoon deserves way more credit than what Splatoon gets. Splatoon is brilliant, and this just looks like Splatoon with all the trademark material and Nintendo-ness ripped from it, so Nintendo can't touch them. But it looks like it. Do you remember that their Takedown City? Is that what it's called? The dodgeball game.
Yeah.
EA released about 3 years ago. Looks kind of like that meets Splatoon. I think it looks alright. It looks interesting enough.
It's one for a couple hours of banter, really.
It does look like a 4-player possibly option for a podcast. Say there was 4 people.
Yes. Isn't it? Yeah.
4v4. Yeah. Okay. I think it looks like it could be. It's not a £70 game, and it might not. If anything, it's going to be 40. I would say 40 quid. So it's going to be like your budget title. I think it's Square Enix.
Like a PS Plus 2024.
Yeah,
freebie.
That's exactly what I was going to say, because it's Square Enix. They love putting in microtransactions. I think it's going to be a freebie. I think it's going to be free to play, and I think it looks interesting enough for me to write it down. I will say that. So it was. What about you, Tomahawk? I know you've crossed over a bit there, but
quite a lot there. I mean, out of everything that we've covered there, the only one that I don't think you've mentioned was Teardown. I think Teardown kind of went through this showcase a little bit unnoticed.
Yeah.
I think I described in the group chat as it's grown up Minecraft.
Yes, it is. Yeah. It's a heist game.
It just looked so much fun, and it's completely destructible, completely constructional.
Yeah, I thought it was a
would-
Lego game at the start.
So did I.
did. So did I at the start, actually. And then I was like, this isn't Lego. This isn't Minecraft. I could be behind this.
Yeah.
And it looks so much fun. It's not top 5 worthy, but it was worth of. This has maybe slipped under the radar slightly.
Yeah, it's a heist multiplayer game. Apparently that's what it is. So it screams, yeah, this could be interesting. It also screams PlayStation Plus or game. At least I think it'd be on Game Pass. I think it'll be a Game Pass game. So
it's already a couple of years old as well, isn't it?
I don't know. If it is, it'd be early access. Like, I've never heard of it before now.
I think in my initial sort of search up, I'd seen that it was on
Steam.
but Steam. Sorry.
Possibly, yeah. I don't know, mate.
What about yourself,
find
Carl?
out.
Any honourable mentions before we hit top spots?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me just put Teardown into Steam. There it is for $25.99.
Okay.
Who knew?
Hey,
It's already
no.
out there. Do you want to see the reviews?
Yeah. Are they mostly positive?
The reviews are overwhelmingly positive.
Oh wow! So that's 90 plus.
Yeah, and it came out in April 2022 on Steam.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
it's pretty
Okay.
fresh
Keep an
then.
eye out. Keep an eye out for that
Okay.
one. Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting. Didn't know that.
So,
Never heard of it.
killer. Right. My honorable mentions are I'd like to mention the remastered collection of the original 3 Metal Gear Solid games,
Yes, man.
which
Excellent.
I own, or but I'll be buying.
Yeah.
I want to play them on the latest console. I didn't actually know if they were remastered or not.
So I didn't put this on my list because I knew you were going to put it on yours. So I can't wait for it either. So basically, what it is Metal Gear 2 from the MVS/NES. So the 80s games. So this is a 35-year celebration of the Metal Gear series. So your 2 original games, Metal Gear Solid, Metal Gear Solid 2, Metal Gear Solid 3. So Metal Gear Solid apparently is the PC version of the PlayStation game. It has all the VR missions and stuff. Metal Gear Solid 2 is Substance. Metal Gear Solid 3 is Subsistence, but the HD version that Bluepoint did in 2009.
Okay.
Right.
So that's what they are.
That is like more flexible camera view and
And
that
updated controls. Still
that original VR you're talking about
the VR missions, the standalone
missions
thing. Yeah. Mhm.
was a separate game in itself back in the day, which was just training missions, but in the Metal Gear world. But it was like 200 of them or something.
Yep. Really, really difficult. I can remember it was 200, and I remember it was even back in the day. It was like 15 quid. New the VR missions, so they were. But yeah, really, really, yeah. I didn't realize how much I wanted to replay Sons of Liberty until I saw it.
Liberty.
Released, yeah.
Just talking to you last night,
yeah.
I was like, I was like, no.
There's just a lot of moments, you know.
Yeah, you did a bit of a deep dive on that. I'm not gonna lie. It was good to
Top
to
scroll pass.
pass it. Yeah, passively read through. But no, you're right. You're right on every count. Metal Gear Solid is a phenomenal franchise.
Yeah.
And I think when you start to deep dive it, is when you start to remember how good, like, you know, the wee set pieces, the wee tiny bits and details that they add into it.
Yeah. Yep.
Exciting.
And I've said these on numerous occasions, like Konami have been doing these classic game collections properly for a good few years now. So I've no doubt in my mind they're going to do this right. I'm still holding hope that they modernize the controls, but
What
I
are you
don't think
hoping
they
for?
will.
Oh right.
I
That's
am
not
just-
what I thought you were going to say.
Ambitious.
Do you know what I would accept? Remappable controls. Remappable controls is specifically for Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3. Metal Gear Solid 2 has it's a awful control scheme.
I just remember the menu of Metal Gear Solids when you open them up. You had to press, I think it was circle to proceed to the menu, or like
yeah.
like
Yep.
instead of
That
press start
frustrates
or
me.
X.
And then you have to push up and down
if
to go it.
If you press
So they still do
X,
that for Metal
it
Gear
takes
Solid
you
5
back.
as well.
No, I just remember trying to play Snake
This
Eater
doesn't make sense.
last year on PlayStation Plus and streaming it, obviously, because it was the PS3 version. And I got to finish the prologue and then got to the game proper. And like I alerted the guards, and then trying to get away, and you're fighting the control. The controls are awful. Awful controls. I would love remappable controls. If they're not going to remaster the controls, allow me to change them so that it makes sense.
No, let's stop.
They're gonna die on that hill.
No. Listen,
I'm not alone.
The premise of Metal Gear 3 is the origin stories. He's learning CQC. That he is losing his green status, and that's the same with you and the controls.
Possibly,
you gotta break down everything you know and relearn it.
Some would say they're not holding your hand. Welcome to the real world.
Anyway, my other honorable mention that I wanted to talk about just briefly was Dragon's Dogma 2.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. What a reaction. What I
heard about.
I know. Capsule Computers. Now, what I heard was that Dragon's Dogma 1 was released similar times around Skyrim, and just got swallowed up because Skyrim is Skyrim. It's a gargantuan game. This looks kind of reminded me of Skyrim because it's got like cat people and orcs and mages and things and all that sort of fantasy-esque stuff going on. And I kind of miss Skyrim, and I just thought that maybe this would be like, what do you call it? Dragon Age
Inquisition.
Kind of Inquisition meets an Elder Scrolls kind of thing. And I thought, maybe if it's done right, maybe that actually might be something I'd be interested in. So it was just enough to make it an honourable mention.
It looks decent, but yeah, I've never played Dragon's Dogma, but if you hear nothing but good things about it, so I don't know.
It's consistent, if nothing else, anyway. But
yeah,
I think, as you say,
if Elder Scrolls released a sixth game, I'm never playing it. I'm playing the Elder Scrolls game. But, yeah.
Right, so shall we get to the moment everyone has been waiting for? Our number one games. My number one games, I think anyone who knows me will be like, of course, artsy, love it. But my number one game, it's Street Fighter 6. No, it's not.
Wait, hang on. We know, love it. It's the cat game, isn't it?
Yes, it was the cat game, Cat Quest 2.
No,
it wasn't. My number one game was Sword of the Sea. So it's the one that probably everyone's forgotten about. Yes, of course it was. Wait, wouldn't it be? It's from Chad Squid, mate. It's from the director of some of the greatest experiences you're ever likely to play. I don't call them games because they're not games. They are experiences. You know, the Flow, Journey, Abzu. Yes. Yes. So
okay.
As soon as I saw that, I was like, that's that game studio, isn't it? And then Giant Squid popped up, and I was like, no, this is the original director of Journey. It's his new one. The guy, they did Abzu, that deep sea diving game.
Yeah.
And it just looks like all of their games rolled into one. Flower on the PlayStation 3 was incredible. And it's not a game. It's not a game. You're basically the wind, and it's your job to pollinate the planet again, and it's just wonderful. It's just so relaxing. The music's beautiful. The graphics are incredible. It's what an experience. If you haven't played Flower, play Flower. Journey, I think.
I have the win.
I'm very surprised. Love it.
Journey.
I'm not surprised.
This is such a man of culture right now.
Journey. Has any of you ever played Journey? Like, properly played Journey?
Sand surfing.
So Journey's totally online. It's a totally online experience, and you play this character. You can't talk. You can chirp and make sounds, and you can direct. You will get joined by another player, but you can't matchmake. The game won't tell you it's a player. It won't tell you the person's name over them or anything like that, and it's your job to work together to go to the mountain. That's your journeying from the desert to the mountain, and then at the end of the experience, it'll tell you, these are the players that helped you, and just lists all the players who helped you. It's it's amazing. It is amazing. It is one of the finest games I've ever played. It honestly is. It lasts about 4 hours, and it's amazing. So as soon as I saw this, I was like, this is like Journey, and then it went underwater. It's like, this looks like Abzu, and then there's bits in it where the world is just. So I looked into it. I was like, what's that game about? So basically, the world is in a constant state of flow. So the whole world has these waves regardless of what the material is. And you have the sword, the hover sword is called. And the hover sword is obviously your combat utensil, but it's also your surfboard, it's a skateboard. It just, it just ticks every single box in the Lova handbook. It just, if it's half as good as Journey, it'll be a 90% there. Not a problem. Okay. Yeah, I'm really excited for it. That's my number one game.
I'm baffled. I shouldn't be baffled, but I'm baffled.
Honestly, play Journey.
We're just letting Lova talk on about this, but we're just shocked because it's not a Capcom game.
And Street Fighter 6 was shown.
Not Street Fighter 6, yeah.
Street Fighter 6 is out next week, so I'm not going to waste a pick on a game that comes out.
He didn't put it on his list because he's just been
not
playing.
Even an honourable mention.
No, because it comes out next week, so where's the point in spending time talking about a game that'll be out? Do you know what I mean? But yeah, no, it just looks... If you honestly play Journey, and it'll change your opinion on Sword of the Sea. It looks... that's my pick.
Okay.
Honestly.
I'll have to check that one out then.
Yeah, go on ahead, Tom. What was your number one pick? Was it Sword of the Sea?
My number one pick was Sword of the Sea. No.
Aquest, Pirates of the Caribbean. No.
My top pick, unsurprisingly, was Metal Gear Solid Delta.
Okay.
Like, I think me and Lova were talking about it as it was revealed. I think I jokingly said when you see the ants close up, I was like, are we getting a Cordyceps Last of Us expansion? No, sadly not.
When that ant showed, I honestly thought it was going to be factions. I did. I thought it was going to be the factions, but it was better.
Alas, not yet. But yeah, that was it. I mean, there was no gameplay. It was a minute 10, more or less, of just this is not gameplay footage. This is all CGI, whatever you want to call it, I suppose. Yep. And then I found out basically, and then as soon as the drums hit, I lost my mind.
Yeah, Snake Eater.
I adore that song. It's because it's so reminiscent of like the old Bond films as well.
Yeah.
And I just, as a franchise, Metal Gear Solid just has a special place. I still have the PS1 disc, the dual disc, at home. No PlayStation 1 to play it on mine, but it's there.
Amazing. I was going to pick that, but
I know that they'll do it right, as you say, with like Konami. They're just churning out all the collections, and
I have a theory about Metal Gear Solid Delta. Okay. So I have a theory about it.
No, let's hear it.
But
lay it out.
I think Cardinal may have more to add on Metal Gear Solid Delta because go ahead.
Should we just say my top game right now?
It's Metal Gear Solid Delta. Yeah. I knew it was going to be. I knew it.
Let's not even have suspense about that.
Do you have anything to add before I jump into my weird conspiracy theory about Metal Gear Solid Delta?
I'll just talk about what we saw. We saw the ants. We saw a progressive level of food chains in the natural environment. At the end of the food chain being Solid Snake. Or not Solid Snake, Big Boss. Snake, and that the dum Snake Eater.
Yes,
and it was class.
I will say the furrowed brow under the bandana that just always cracks me up, even in glorious 8K, whatever.
yeah. I think it's going to be amazing. Honestly, I think it's going to be amazing. I liked all the little... There was so many clues throughout that video of what it was before Snake appeared. Like the parrot being the Edge's parrot when the Edge comes.
Right. I need to watch it back.
That's his parrot.
And the ants were, Colonel Vulcan's famous favourite ants.
You had all these wee clues, like the crocodile, obviously, the first piece of... the first enemy you come against in the original Snake Eater. You have to go across that pond that has the 2 crocodiles and stuff. So in hindsight, yeah, it was obviously Metal Gear Solid, but they chose a unique way of advertising it. A very Kojima way almost of unveiling it, you know, because we all knew it was there. I always loved Kojima the way he did. Do you remember Moby Dick Studios for the Phantom Pain, where he pretended to be a Swede and stuff?
That's right, yes.
Incredible. What it did. But here is my theory for Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater.
Yes.
Okay? They have changed the name of that game. It is not Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater anymore. It's Metal Gear Solid Delta. So
That's actually correct.
So this is what I think is happening here, boys and girls. What I think is happening is Konami are going the Resident Evil route with Metal Gear Solid, and they're going to remake all of them. But only they're doing it in timeline order. So it's going to be Snake Eater first, and then it's going to be Metal Gear Solid, and then it's going to be Metal Gear Solid 2. That's what I think, and that's why it's been renamed.
That tickles me in ways it shouldn't on this podcast.
I'm desperately
It's that
hoping,
very idea.
because I'm desperately hoping that's what they're doing, because I really, really want a Metal Gear Solid 1 remake. Because it'll be
Yes.
I would love a ground up Metal Gear Solid 1. I think just to fight Vulcan
yeah.
in
Yeah.
8K would just be
I know the internet really wants Sons of the Patriots and stuff remade. I honestly don't think we're going to get. I can't see Sons of the Patriots ever being remade. I just don't. I think there's licensing issues up everywhere in that game. Just everywhere in that game, there's licensing issues here, there, and everywhere. And I
I'd like
can't
to be
see
able
them.
to play it.
So would I, because it has some of the best moments in video gaming. In my opinion, Metal Gear Solid 4 it's not the best Metal Gear Solid, but
Yeah, but it harks to so many great moments and creates new ones.
yeah, just a love letter.
What about the original 2 then in that case? Because the original 2 would come after
Metal Gear
Snake
Solid.
Eater.
No. Oh, yeah, it comes after everything apart from
Yeah.
4. So it'll
No,
be
I mean the original Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2 that were out on the Super Nintendo.
Because they're technically set.
they're in the
They talk
80s.
about Zanzibar,
Where-
so
they are your Solid Snake, and the enemy is Big Boss.
I don't think they'll. I don't know actually.
yeah.
I doubt it.
it's all canon, but I don't see them
Okay,
remaking.
yeah.
I doubt it. I don't even think they are canon because Metal Gear Solid was a complete reboot.
Metal Gear Solid 1 refers to Snake
It
fighting
does.
Big Boss in Zanzibar,
does.
which is what
It
Metal
does.
Gear 2, I believe, is.
And Metal Gear 5, which I'll be honest, I haven't played because
Other
reasons.
things.
It is set before those original ones as well.
Yeah.
So I think as well, it's set before Metal Gear, so it's set before Zanzibar.
It's a mess. This timeline.
The timeline's a mess. We need a full episode to do
Just
the
all we
Metal Gear
need.
timeline.
All we need. Metal Gear Solid Delta, Metal Gear Solid, Metal Gear Solid 2.
But we never got a definitive
I'd be happy
time
with it.
frame or timeline on Delta, did we?
You're 60s?
No, I mean for release.
Oh no, nothing.
The 2060s.
Nothing. Sorry, I thought you meant no. It's set in the 60s. 100%.
War. It's Cold
Yeah,
War.
because they reference Cuba and stuff in the intro, if I remember correctly. So it does.
Oh my goodness! I remember the
Now-
intro being absolutely
Which
ages long.
reminds
Sorry,
me, the collection has Metal Gear Solid 2, Metal Gear Solid 3 in their original condition, except for slight edits of copyrighted material, which is the intro with all the news broadcasts.
Oh,
They'll be removed or redone, and they'll be removed.
spliced in, yeah.
They'll be removed. They'll be gone. So that wee intro and the outro as well. And there's the bit with the reveal in Metal Gear Solid 3 where you're getting talked through all the maneuvers of the United States in the Cold War, and it goes all, you get all the like the top secret and all this here business. That'll be gone.
Yeah. The
Well,
Lally
some of it-
Lulido.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
So
Sorry.
we'll do a quick recap, and then we'll get to the the wind up section. So my top 5 was Spider-Man 2, Phantom Blade 0, Plucky Squire, Alan Wake 2, Sword of the Sea. Tomahawk, remind me what your top 5 were.
My top 5 was The Plucky Squire in 5th, Phantom Blade 0 in 4th, Spider-Man 2 in 3rd, Alan Wake 2 in 2nd, and Metal Gear Solid Delta in 1st.
Beautiful. And Cardinal.
My top 5 were 5th Synapse, then 4th Concord, 3rd was Final Fantasy 16, 2nd was Helldivers 2, and 1st was Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake.
Beautiful. What a collection of games. In fairness, there's something for everyone in that showcase. So there was, but we'll get to the wrap up because I need to go unlock a door because Tasha's going to come in from work. And that is it. That is our picks of the showcase. 25 games boiled down to 15 for your own convenience out there.
We, with overlaps.
Yeah, it's probably about 9 games really. But one last thing I think we should do is the discourse on the internet is this was a terrible show from Sony. I disagree. So what we're going to do is we're going to give the showcase as a whole a score out of 5. So who wants to go first? Somebody go first.
Why break tradition?
Go first.
Yeah, I honestly, my only issue with this show was there wasn't enough Sony first party show. That's it. I think what they did show was enough. There's a game for everybody, and what was shown was all pretty high quality. I don't think there's any stinkers in there, so I'm going to give it 4 out of 5. I think I thought it was a good show. I don't think it didn't change my life like 2016 E3 Sony conference did when they announced Shenmue 3 and everything else, and Resident Evil or Final Fantasy 7 remake and all that their business. It wasn't that level, but I think what was here is enough. I think 3.5 out of 5.
Yeah. I'd be
talking himself down.
He has. I'd be inclined to go for 4 out of 5 on that. I think the only gripe I may have is that there are a lot of games that we didn't get enough of. Like, there's a lot of, this is not gameplay. This is representative of gameplay. And it's like, no, I kind of, if you're going to showcase stuff, showcase what you have. Showcase in, like, if it's not perfect, at least show it's in work and on the cutting floor, essentially.
Yep.
I think that's my only thing. I think a lot of developers will heavily lean on a CGI, a VT, to sell the game. Delta. But yeah, I think 4 out of 5
Concord.
seems more than reasonable.
Yeah. And what about you, Cardinal?
You okay? I don't know. I sort of think on the positive side of things, I would go 4 because rather than think about what was missing, I didn't really go in with any expectations. And I know there was a lot of chat on Twitter and all the social medias about what people wanted, but that's just what people want and kind of hope for. What we got was, as you say, a real eclectic mix of different games that were coming out in the console that's clearly still got lots of plans for fresh new games. And there was things I'd never heard of in there or didn't know anything about that looked cool.
Yep.
And then there was Metal Gear, and that's one of my 2 favorite game franchises are Final Fantasy and Metal Gear.
You got both.
So
Spades.
Talk to me, Sony. Just keep talking to me. Whisper into my dreams more of this.
Well, I think that's everything, isn't it? Have we missed anything? That was it.
Yes, you missed one thing.
No, okay.
Cat Quest: Pirates of the Caribbean.
What a game! It's going to be incredible, isn't it?
It's gonna win all
Coming
the awards.
2024, we got most of a date there. So
it's coming. It's going to change lives, change the world. Video
change
games,
somebody's life.
Video games will never be the same. Video games will never be the same once Cat
You
Quest.
thought Stray was good. Well, it was, and this might not be. So,
and on that bombshell, I think we should call it quits here, gentlemen, while we're ahead.
Do the socials, boys.
So we'll do the socials. So that is what we thought of the showcase. So if you want to tell us what you thought of the showcase, you can do it on social media. So you can find us on Instagram. It's at High Scores High Stakes Podcast. You can find us on Twitter. It is at H Scores H Stakes. You can find us all individually on Twitter. I'm Mr_Lova_Lova. Cardinal Smith is Cardinal_Smith_. Tomahawk is Tomahawk_HSHS. Mr. John Sherry is at Mr. John Sherry. You can also find us on Discord, where we are getting our Discord. The link is down below in the description. Go there. You can find a whole wake of chats, including a challenge room for every episode of season 1. So if you want to put your times in, a couple of folk have already done so, and they've lowered the winning score, I think, haven't they? Your score's been beat, Tomahawk, in Crash Bandicoot 1.
Yes, so out of the main body of podcast, that score's been beat. I think all of our scores have been beat. Yeah, well, you if your score's beat, all of our scores have been beat. So if you think you can beat, I think the current record holder is Randy Raichu. Get yourself a Discord. The link is down below. If you think you can beat any of our scores in any of the games we've done in season 1, you'll find a room for that all on Discord. Get there. And as I said last week, we do have big plans for the Discord coming up for season 2, so stay tuned for that as well. And I think that is really us. I haven't forgotten any socials, have I? YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube. If you want to, if you don't subscribe to Spotify and you want to see the video version of all of season 1, then get yourself over to YouTube /@ High Scores High Stakes. You can see all the series, season 1. When this goes out, it should all be there, and you can watch the whole thing in its entirety in its beautiful 1080p 30 frames a second glory, and it is something to behold. So if that is everything, gentlemen, I think the only thing to say now is I've been Mr. Lova. This has been High Scores High Stakes. See you next Monday. Love you all. Bye.
That's it. Bye.
Time. I unfollowed about 25 people. Yeah.
God, there was a call on Lova's Twitter this week anyway.
A massive call. No regrets. No regrets here.
Gotta stand by your laurels there.
Ah, mate, I hate it. Fighting games are hard enough to get into. Just ask Cardinal. They are.
I know. The draw that everyone wanted. Street Fighter 5. Right, Tom? Anyway.
I've never felt more confident.
If I speak, I get in trouble.